on base, and they committed
in
2
and around
errands.
Southwest
For
Virginia
the Twin Springs Titans, they had 1 run,
beautiful
4 hits.
We've also managed to kick
They
up our
left the
heels a time or two. So sit back, relax, and we'll give you a peek at some of the marvelous places molasses we have right in our own backyard. On our visit, we got a flat-foot dance demonstration from Jack Dollinger. Our first stop is near Mount Rogers National Recreation Area and White Top Mountain. White Top is the second highest peak in Virginia at 5,570 feet. It also boasts the highest automobile road in the Commonwealth, which is how we got there. The mountain got its name from the middays during the fall, winter, and spring, when its top is covered with frost or snow. On a clear day, the view is unsurpassed.
Of the den, so to speak. Hero forming magazines.
It's time to visit Norton itself and the country cabin of Josephine. Goals, ideals, and traditions of the original Carter family. The founder and director is Jeanette Carter. A composer and performer in her own right, Jeanette is the youngest daughter of A.P. and Sarah. She acts as mistress of ceremonies at the shows, playing and singing Carter family songs and introducing other performers. She is often joined by her brother Joe, as she was the night we visited. 180-degree view of a landscape created by volcanoes.
Well, I wonder how the old
National Recreation Area is Grayson Highland State Park. This park has many hiking trails with breathtaking views, and it's the only Virginia state park that offers a special camping area for people that bring their horses. Place to start your tour is at the Visitor Center. Here you'll get a glimpse into the past to a bygone era of mountain life. Alive, visit the Jones Homestead. First built in the early 1800s, the cabin has been recreated on the original foundation. Here, periodically, the park has crafts and musicians, molasses making, and more. On our visit, we got a flat-foot dance demonstration from Jack Dollinger.
Ain't nothing to that. See here,
there are numerous picnic areas throughout the park. We stopped at the Wildcat Overlook to eat lunch. After lunch, we enjoyed the wonderful view at 4,950 feet above sea level. On our trek of the park, we saw lots of wildlife like turkey and deer. The deer were just as interested in us as we were in them. We also saw wild ponies. Some of these ponies get auctioned off at the Grayson Highlands Fall Festival. In addition to its own hiking trails, the park offers access to the Appalachian Trail. Grayson Highlands State Park is beautiful in all seasons, and it's well worth a visit, whether you're on foot, horseback, or just driving through. Another park with some spectacular scenery and one of my all-time favorite places is Breaks Interstate Park. So named not because it's near an interstate, but because it's on the Virginia-Kentucky border. Breaks Interstate Park was created in 1954 by a joint action of the Kentucky and Virginia legislatures. It covers 4,500 acres of woodlands and skyscraping scenery. The Russell Fork of the Big Sandy River has carved the largest canyon east of the Mississippi. It's more than 5 miles long and 1,600 feet deep. The Breaks Canyon, estimated to be some 250 million years old, is sometimes called the Grand Canyon of the South, or the Grand Canyon with clothes on. The park has more than just scenery to offer. It has cabins, picnic and camping facilities, a swimming pool, a motel, an amphitheater, lots of hiking trails, and a wonderful restaurant. There's also a visitor center chock full of history. Nearby is a reconstructed log cabin, and even a moonshine still. Fishing is another pastime, available in Laurel Lake, along with pedal boats. Side trip, you can visit the John W. Flanagan Dam and Reservoir. The dam, completed in 1964, was built primarily for flood control. With almost 40 miles of shoreline nestled in the mountains, it's lovely. Now we go to the far southwest end of the state for a visit to Pennington Gap in Lee County. There is located the Afro-American Historical Cultural Center.
In 1938, my great-great-grandmother, Rachel Scott, sold this property to the school so that a black school might be built for the black community.
We had classes from primer through the 7th. And during that time, we had primer through the 7th. We had a warm morning stove, pot belly stove they call it. But most of the time we'd have to make our fire after we arrived at school. So we'd make it, and all the children we'd stand around or have places around the stove until the room got warm. And so after the room warmed up, we would go into our own areas, the corners. We had seats similar to that one right there, little desk. And we'd have recess, and we'd go out to play. Everybody had recess at the same time. Our bathrooms were on the outside.
I can remember games that we used to play. We didn't have a playground, no playground equipment. We would take socks and roll them up into like a ball, and our parents would sew the socks into a round shape, and we would go out to the fields and play softball. And to us, that was like playing baseball. We didn't have any toys or any playground equipment. And as Mrs. Camp mentioned, we didn't have a lunchroom, so we had to bring our lunches in brown bags. But we were united, and at that time, we really enjoyed going to school here.
In 1987, the one-room schoolhouse became a center to preserve Lee County's Black history.
Our goal is to store as much Black history that we can in this building. It's very important to us that our children will have some type of a legacy. As you may be aware, blacks in Appalachia is a dying culture. It's important because a lot of the white children here in the county can go through the whole school and not see a black child. And it's important because when they leave this county and go to other schools, they need to know that other cultures do exist.
I think they give them a way to being acquainted and to know how the black culture, live and understand them when they want to get away where they are more. And it's good for our own children because they're going, they don't know anything about the one-room buildings, the younger ones and my grandchildren. And I'd like for them to preserve it so they can know what happened back in the 60s and before the 60s.
1 mile north of Pennington Gap is Stoneface Rock. One local theory has it that the rock is an ancient Cherokee Indian head carved by the Cherokees to mark the entrance of the holy worshiping grounds and gathering place for the Cherokee Nation. Stoneface Rock can be viewed day or night, year-round. Now we move on to Big Stone Gap and the John Fox Jr. House. The volunteers here do a wonderful job of telling the story of one of America's best-known authors of the early 20th century.
Well, John Fox Jr. wrote Trail of the Lonesome Pine, Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come. He was an author. He also was a war correspondent. He had 12 books published. The greatest was Trail of the Lonesome Pine and Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come, both of which were made into a stage play. And of course, in our area, the Trail of the Lonesome Pine is our outdoor drama, which envisions everything that John Fox Jr. saw in the mountains around here, and the people, their culture, the way they lived, and what this area is all about, going back to the 1809s and brought up to date. We come in from the porch, and this is the parlor and the dining room. At the time the Fox family came here in the late 1880s, there was only this room and the one there and 2 rooms above. And from that, we now have 20 rooms and 5 bathrooms, each with a fireplace in it. All the furniture here is the original furniture that was used by the Fox family. No one but the Fox family ever lived in this house from 1888 up until 1970. We're now in the dining room of the John Fox Jr. Museum, and on the piano you'll see a copy of the Trail of the Lonesome Pine, which is one of the original older copies. John Fox Jr. and his mother both sang and played the piano, the guitar, and they sang together. You'll notice that the piano is in the dining room. At that time, when all the family was here, this was used only for the dining room. But later on, as members of the family moved away or passed away, it became the den, so to speak, or the nest for Miss Minnie Fox and Miss Elizabeth Fox, who were the only 2 here at that time. And over on the wall, you will see a picture of Mother and Father Fox. Father Fox's hobby was clockmaking. You'll see those. But John Fox Jr. always loved to come back here when he wasn't feeling well, when he needed to write. This was his home. And in 1912, Mother and Father Fox, John Fox Jr.'s parents, celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary here in this room. Now we're in one of the downstairs bedrooms of the John Fox Jr. Museum. This bedroom, as you can see, is more modern in the wallpaper and such because it was added on much later after John Fox Jr. had married. In the closet you have seen kimonos and things that John Fox Jr. sent back from the Orient while he was a war correspondent. The bed is a representation of the furniture that's upstairs. On the dresser you will find Miss Elizabeth's toilet articles, so to speak, with the shoe buttoner and the buffer and things we no longer use today, but were very much used in those days. This is the second bedroom downstairs. This one, this bed, and the dresser that goes with it Mother and Father Fox brought with them when they came here, and it's pure rosewood. The family loved this because at that time it had already served the family for 3 generations. And it was called, not very nice, this is the dying and the birthing bed. When someone was real sick or just born, they got to use this bed with Mama and Papa. We're now in the study of John Fox Jr., and this is the heart of the whole museum. This is where John Fox Jr. came to write. He felt like in this room he could write because he knew his father was always close by. He said he could hear the birds singing, he could hear the water from the fountain, and things were more or less at peace. So here he could write. And in this room you will see different things, way his books were first published in serial form in magazines. You'll see illustrations of the Kentuckian, the Trail of the Lonesome Pine, Little Shepherd of Kingdom Come. You can see a haversack that he used as a war correspondent for the Scrivener magazine.
We've just shown a small portion of what there is here to see at the John Fox Jr. house. It really is like taking a step back in time and well worth the visit. But it's time for us to move on to High Knob, just down the road from Big Stone Gap. Over Norton in far southwest Virginia is High Knob and Flag Rock. This mountain has a lot to offer with the High Knob Recreation Area, a part of the Jefferson National Forest and the Clinch Ranger District. When we visited back in the fall, we took a walk to the observation tower. It was one of the clearest days anyone could remember for years, and the view, it was spectacular. Mountains as far as the eye could see. From here you can see Kentucky, West Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. Visit Norton itself and the country cabin of Josephine for a step back in time, and a lively step it is, too. The cabin was built in 1937 and 38 under President Roosevelt's WPA program as a community recreation center. The cabin was used by Kate Gables Sturgill and Doc Boggs, Southwest Virginia's most prominent ballad and folk singers. Local musicians gathered on Friday and Saturday nights for square dances, box suppers, cakewalks, and other social activities. During the 40s, the property was sold and became a private residence. In August of 1988, it was deeded to Appalachian Traditions, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the preservation, promotion, and perpetuation of traditional Appalachian culture. Today, it's a return to its purpose of the past at the cabin, where you can find good, clean family fun. Each Saturday night year-round, folks gather to enjoy local and regional music. Everyone has a good time, dancing, participating in the cakewalks, participating in broom dances. No one is a stranger here, and we've had a lot of fun on this taping session. Extension Traditions also sponsors workshops and the annual Dock Boggs Festival. A group that stemmed from the activities at the cabin is the Sugarcane Cloggers. We caught up to the Cloggers at a practice session. At the country cabin have lots of exciting plans for expansion, but in the meantime, it's still well worth the visit. The public is cordially invited to attend every Saturday night for traditional mountain music and warm hospitality. Another fun place to visit for good, clean family fun is the Carter Family Memorial Music Center. Here also, the spirit of traditional mountain music is being kept alive each weekend throughout the year with music shows and exhibits of historic mementos. For some background, a visit to the old A.P. Carter store is a must. Nestled in the hills of Mesa Spring, Virginia, where A.P. was born and raised, the store has been turned into a museum which houses hundreds of Carter family items. The Carter family was discovered by Ralph Peer, a Victor talent scout. The original Carter family, consisting of A.P. Carter, his wife Sarah, and her cousin Maybelle, made their first recording in August of 1927 and became the pioneers of what was to become country music. Between 1927 and 42, the Carter family recorded 300 songs, 100 of which were A.P. Carter songs. Songs such as Wildwood Flower, I'm Thinking Tonight of My Blue Eyes, and Keep on the Sunny Side. Among the many items at the museum are original pressings of Carter Family 78 RPM recordings, photographs, books, musical instruments, show clothes, and more. A.P. Carter Store and Museum is the Carter Family Fold. Every Saturday night, it comes alive with traditional mountain music. Founded in 1979, the center's goal is to preserve and further old-time music played on acoustical instruments and to carry on the work, goals, ideals, and traditions of the original Carter family. The founder and director is Jeanette Carter. A composer and performer in her own right, Jeanette is the youngest daughter of A.P. and Sarah. She acts as mistress of ceremonies at the shows, playing and singing Carter family songs and introducing other performers. She is often joined by her brother Joe, as she was the night we visited.
Well, I wonder how the old folks are at home. I wonder if they miss me when I'm gone. I wonder if they pray for the boy who went away and left his dear old parents all alone. You could hear the cattle lowing in the lane. You could almost see the fields of the grass green.
Folks come from all over to hear the music. Only acoustic instruments are played and no electric instruments are allowed. The dance floor in front of the stage helps keep traditional dance styles alive, like buck dancing and clogging. Young and old alike share the floor. At the Carter Family Fold, there is no generation gap. the Carter Family Memorial Music Center is a must. They are open every Saturday night, year-round. The folks are friendly, the music is good, and you're sure to have a good time. And now it's time to travel up the road a ways to Lexington and Lime Kiln Theater. The story behind the kiln is quite interesting. Civil War veteran A.T. Barclay was a smooth talker with a bottomless pit of get-rich-quick schemes. Although none of them ever turned out quite like he planned, he did leave his mark on the Shenandoah Valley. He founded the city of Buena Vista, and one of the first factories built there was the Columbia Paper Mill. To lure business into town, Barclay promised that he could supply lime, which is used as a filler between the pulp fibers and paper. His farm was rich in limestone, and in 1896 he started the Rockbridge Stone and Lime Company, located where the theater is today. About a dozen buildings, including a barrel shop, were built. Eventually, Barclay lost control of the company, and it was sold. As time went on, the kilns fell into ruin. The land changed hands several times over the next few generations, and eventually, with the help of many dedicated people, Lime Kiln Theater came into being among the ruins. Many different world-class performers have appeared at Lime Kiln, and throughout the summer, different theatrical productions take place. One of the most popular and well-known is Stonewall Country, a musical based on the life and times of Lexington's own Civil War general, Stonewall Jackson.
This is Maggie Junkin. She was Jackson's sister-in-law. Some people say she was in love with him. I don't know about that, but I do know she loved him. And he loved her, and they shared at least a life together. Maggie was the eldest daughter of a Presbyterian preacher from Pennsylvania who was president of Washington College. She wasn't particularly pretty, but she was a poet.
Thomas Jackson courted my younger sister, Ellie.
You and Ellie dressed like twins.
But Ellie was prettier.
I thought Thomas was stiff and awkward.
But you agreed to marry me.
So long as you'd keep our engagement a secret.
Oh, he knew how to do that all right. He didn't even tell his sister she got her feelings hurt.
We didn't invite anybody to the wedding.
Except you and your family.
It was a peculiar courtship.
Which was normal for him.
We went to Niagara Falls on our honeymoon.
I went with them.
Which was not peculiar.
Lime Kiln Theater is definitely worth checking out, but it's a good idea to call ahead for tickets. Another thing you'll want to remember is to take a jacket. Sometimes it gets a little cool in the theater under the stars.
The following program has been made possible in part by Discovery Channel and the Learning Channel. Country music is associated with the heartland of America, but what are the real origins of this down-home sound? How did Marie Antoinette seal her fate in the French Revolution? And what happened in the final moments of the city of Pompeii? The answers are coming up today on Education Showcase.
Hi, I'm Joan Scott. Welcome to Education Showcase. The term media literacy is becoming a buzzword in education, and it's easy to understand why. Television plays a significant role in how we view the world, and increasingly, it's playing a greater role in today's classrooms. That's why students need to learn about television while they're learning with it, so they can critically evaluate what they see on the screen. If teachers are wondering how to accomplish that within the context of their curriculum, then stay tuned. Today, we'll review a number of ways to turn your students into savvy TV viewers.
Ever since we've been a people, we've been telling stories, analyzing stories, looking at literature. So media, advertising, all of the things we're talking about are just another form of storytelling that need to be analyzed.
In our cover story this month, we'll review the basics of media literacy and take a look at curriculum materials that make it easy to teach critical viewing skills. Cable in the Classroom programs introduce a native African tribe and relive the early days of the American Revolution. And in our teacher application segment, we'll visit an educator who uses the Weather Channel to reach educational goals with ESL students. Now here's a preview of this month's programs for family viewing.
If you want to be the best, then you've got to think and do everything to be the best. There's no room for other things.
What does it take to become the ultimate athlete? Talent and dedication are part of the puzzle, but culture, nature, and even science all contribute to being the best.
We have very exacting standards. Physique, technique, and mental attitude are all taken into account. Character counts for a lot.
But foremost is body type.
These days, our divers need shoulder joints that are strong but more flexible. This is the best combination.
The theory of developing talent is pretty well developed. That is, there are scholars working on it. They can x-ray children's wrists and they can project how large the children will grow to be eventually.
And physical skill is only half the battle. Athletes like Carl Lewis develop mental techniques as well.
I don't visualize and all that kind of stuff like people say, all the Zen stuff. What I do is just think about the specific technical elements that I have to do when I'm standing there. And then when the starter calls us to our mark, I basically just get down to my mark and clear my mind.
The Discovery Channel profiles a host of modern athletes, exploring their physical and mental techniques for success in Ultimate Athlete, Pushing the Limit.
I hear the train a-comin', it's rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine.
Country music has a long and varied history, and although it has evolved into a distinctly American form of music, it has its roots in our rich immigrant heritage.
When all those people came to America, they brought their music with them. They brought a little bit of Ireland, a little bit of Scotland, a little bit of England. So when I sing my grandma's song, Come-a-loo, come-a-loo, come-a-high-low, come down the merry stream, the essence of country folk music, that is all of those ancestors bringing together what we have, which is really American music, which is really music that roots go back to the world.
TBS explores the many influences that have left their mark on country music, from gospel harmonies to the singing cowboys of the big screen.
And those costumes, I understand, evolved from parade outfits, these elaborate saddles and rhinestone costumes, and the singing cowboys, Roy Rogers and Gene Autry, and Monty Hill and Tex Ritter.
When Gene Autry and Roy Rogers started making movies, they wore pretty simple cowboy outfits. They were clean. I mean, you know, Gene never got his hat dirty. But they got progressively more and more flashy. And then the rumor has it that the head of Republic, Yates, went out to New York and saw Oklahoma, and he said, I've got to dress my cowboys like that. And that's where Roy Rogers started to get the ultra fancy outfit.
America's Music, The Roots of Country, is a 3-part special airing this month on TBS.
Just over 200 years ago, the French Revolution claimed its most famous victim. The courage of Marie Antoinette has left the image of a tragic heroine. A queen of France overthrown by bloodthirsty revolutionaries.
Marie Antoinette has become a symbol of the French Revolution. Already disliked by her subjects for her Austrian heritage, the Queen's extravagant lifestyle quickly ruined her reputation.
Oblivious to criticism, Marie Antoinette gambled the nights away. Her heavy debts were often paid by Louis, who loved his wife, though she treated him with condescension.
There was the famous time at the Trianon when, because she liked to stay up late, that she actually put the clock forward so she could get rid of Louis XVI early. These stories got around.
And the notorious gossip at the French court helped to fuel her downfall.
At Versailles, where ridicule was a deadly weapon, Louis's failure to consummate the marriage inspired rumors that he was a cuckold and the queen a loose woman.
In the end, the dire warning of her family proved fatally true.
Things cannot go on like this forever. The revolution, if it happens, will be a cruel one. And you may well be the cause of it.
A&E looks at the life and times of the tragic queen in a biography of Marie Antoinette. And here are some other programs that families can watch for this month. Common soldiers have decided the fate of their countries and kings for centuries. The Learning Channel explores the causes, tactics, and consequences of these historic battles in the continuing series, Ancient Warriors. On TNT, a family of little people have a series of adventures in The Return of the Borrowers, a two-part series based on the novels of Mary.
Do it again. Take it around. And over. That's right. We make a full figure 8. Take it around. Now go right back from the top. Alternate V. Here we go. Step, lift. Good. Both arms. Come on, you're doing good. I know you're doing it with me. Let's go. Up. Other arm. Now double arm. We're going to take it to tap up, tap down right here. Tap. Let's give it 4 more. How you doing, Megan? Doing fine. We don't hear her breathing heavy yet. Okay, we're going to take it over the top 3 times toward us. 1 and 2. This is where we walk it around. Walk it around. Back over the top toward us. That's right. Over.